Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We've missed you. This is Director's Viewpoint, and I am Patrick Parker, the Associate Artistic Director. And today in the hot seat is my favorite director. I have to admit I'm a little biased, but our wonderful producing artistic director, Mark Hobie.
Hello, welcome back. Great to see all of you back here.
Yes, and if you're watching this today, you're either at the theater at our very first public performance in 591 days. Mm-hmm. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah.
Or you're watching this on the new Paper Mill app. And if you haven't downloaded the app yet, we highly encourage you to do so. There's even a wonderful tutorial about how to do that on our website. Thank you, Emma Reiner. And you can access this and other audience enrichment activities. You can get contactless tickets. So it's right on your device. So it's going to be a really good thing moving forward. So we hope you will all take advantage of that. So we're here today to talk about our first production of the 21-22 season, Songs for a New World. It's a song cycle, right, Mark?
Absolutely, a song cycle.
And the composer is the wonderful Jason Robert Brown, who we have a relationship with because 2012, I think, we premiered his new musical, Honeymoon in Vegas, which starred Rob McClure and Tony Danza and moved across the river to the Great White Way. So we're thrilled to produce another one of his shows. So Mark, first of all, I have to just ask you, what's it like directing a show during a pandemic and restrictions and masks and all of that?
Yeah, you know, it's great being back in the theater here. We're in tech right now. We rehearsed at our new studios that are located in downtown Millburn. There's a lot of things that are similar. Great talent, creativity, people working together to put together a wonderful show for our Paper Mill patrons. And then there's a couple new things that we have to take into consideration. Obviously, we deal with testing to make sure that everybody's healthy. Right. We wear masks most of the time. We're not wearing masks at this moment because we're talking with you.
We're alone, basically.
Yeah, but everybody's vaccinated and safe and keeping as close to safety guidelines as we can while creating a show. So it does add a level of complexity, but I think everybody understands that's the moment we're in right now, and people are excited just to get back to doing what we do after being away from it for over a year and a half.
Certainly, although you and I spent a lot of time in the theater last season producing the virtual season, and I just want to thank everybody who hung in there with us through that. Mark is now a film and television director as well. He can add that to his resume.
To my resume, yes.
And we actually, it was very nice being back in the theater. And even though you all weren't here, you are, of course, are the missing element. So we're very grateful that you're back and that you're with us. The frustrating thing for me with that rehearsal process was that I couldn't go to rehearsal. Usually I pop in and lend support and squire board members or donors or something like that. But literally we're restricted with the square feet of the studio. There are restrictions about how many people can actually be in the space.
We just have to be very careful about who comes into contact with the cast, with the actors, because when they are performing, they don't wear masks, obviously. And so we need to keep them as safe and healthy as possible. So we restrict the number of staff members, visitors who actually get within 6 feet of those performers. So we want them to remain healthy so that we can continue performing for all of you.
And since we started tech, we also started this rigorous testing schedule for the whole crew, the musicians, any of the staff that's here in the theater with the actors. And you know, as Mark said, the whole thing is to protect them so we can do 8 shows a week.
Right.
Let's talk about your amazing team.
First I want to just say a little bit about the show.
Oh yeah.
It's I mean, it is a song cycle. And Jason Robert Brown is the composer and lyricist, and it was created at a small theater in New York City. Jason actually played the show at the piano. It was directed by Daisy Prince, who is Hal Prince's daughter.
Yeah.
And it was a collection of songs that Jason had written, and Daisy had the idea of putting them together because thematically, although each moment of the show, each song is its own unit, there seemed to be a through line about people on the brink of making a major decision in their life, coming to a point where you have to go right or left, forward or back, but you're at some precipice and you need to make a decision. And some of them are life-changing, but it's about, and the lyric is, it's about one moment. And it truly is about one moment in time when each of these characters who's singing each of these individual songs comes up to a wall and has to figure out how to break through it. And what's exciting about the show, I think, for audiences and for performers and for myself as a director, is that each song is a complete unit. It's its own story from top to bottom, all within one musical moment. So
It's like a scene.
yeah, every
Every
single
song
one
is like a scene. The
is.
storytelling is extraordinary.
Yeah.
You've used the word crossroads before.
Yeah, I mean, a crossroads, absolutely. You're at a crossroads in your life and you have to figure out which way you're going to go. So that's exciting. And the music's spectacular. Jason's written a variety of styles, from contemporary rock, musical theater, there's some gospel influence, there's jazz, there's a musical style for almost everybody who likes music and musical theater. So we use that as a jumping off point for our physical production, which you can see behind us. You can't completely see it behind us, but actually the set is a crossroads. It's two sort of runways that cross at the middle of the stage, and then there's access stairs that bring the actors down. And we featured the orchestra on stage as well. It's a beautiful 9-piece orchestra with a string section that's just spectacular, that complements the music. So it's the performers and these great musicians on stage delivering Jason's story songs in an elegant setting here at Paper Mill. And Kelly Ty is the scenic designer. There's some wonderful lighting by Charlie Morrison, some great costumes by Jen Caprio, and sound design by Matt Krause.
Yeah. And
Jared Janis, who's done our hair design. I don't know who else. I want to make sure I hit everybody.
I think you got everybody. But they've all been here before. You have seen their work many times. Certainly if you saw the virtual season, they did all of those shows for us. Kelly did an amazing Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did that together. That was a wonderful show, and that was also lit by Charlie.
Charlie's done so many shows here. He's been working here for about 20 years actually, and he's one of our favorite lighting designers. He also. What was the one that was? Oh, Little Mermaid was so extraordinary. It was just so extraordinary.
We also,
all that flying, and you never, ever
you couldn't see the wires.
Saw a wire.
We also were really fortunate because we have as our musical, Sinai Tebek, who's our musical director, and also as a musical supervisor is Georgia Stitt, who is an incredibly accomplished musical director, musician, coach, and happens to be married to the composer lyricist Jason.
That's
Robert
a lot
Brown.
of pressure.
Yeah, no, it was great. Georgia was wonderful. She helped us assemble this cast. She helped us put the band together, and she's been just a wonderful resource, bringing her insight about how the show was developed. You know what Jason. What his goals were and visions were for the piece. So having her around has been incredible. Not only for me, but also for our performers.
For the performers.
We have
an incredible
cast of performers. The cast on stage is 4 very unique and diverse personalities and singers. Carolee Carmelo, Tony nominee who's been here twice before, Andrew Kober, Mia Pinero, and Roman Banks are the complement of singers. And then we have two wonderful standbys, Olivia Hernandez and Dion Greer, who each of them cover the two male and female counterparts.
We're very proud of Dion. He was a student here. He was a Rising Star nominee twice and attended our conservatory and then Montclair University. And we're so happy to be helping launch his professional career.
Right, and Mia actually went to
Mia went to Montclair as well. Yeah.
We have a great relationship with that university, and we're very proud of it.
And Cara Lee has been here several times. You have seen her here in The King and I and in Baby, both of which were beautifully directed.
By me, yes.
And she actually got her, I would say her first big break was in a Jason Robert Brown production.
Yeah, she was Parade.
Parade.
I mean,
which Hal Prince directed.
Yeah, right.
Right? And
she's had a long and storied career. She's played everything. She was Florence in the Tour of Chess. She was Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. That's when I first met her back in Boston a long time ago. I
met her when she was doing Beehive,
right,
in upstate New York.
Right, and most recently, right when the pandemic happened, she was doing the national tour of Hello, Dolly, the one that originated on Broadway with Bette Midler and then went out on the road with Betty Buckley. And Cara Lee took over for Betty Buckley, and so she was touring the country with that, which was amazing. And Andrew Kober has been here twice recently. He was in Cinderella, which I directed, which was also beautifully choreographed by our good friend Joanne Hunter, and then was part of the Unmasked company, which was the retrospective of Andrew Lloyd Webber's work, which actually was the last live performance on this stage. It closed March 1st, I think, which was right before we shut down for the pandemic.
Right. We had just finished 1 week of Sister Act rehearsal, and everything stopped.
Right.
You know who we forgot to talk about?
Oh.
Kenny Ingram.
Oh, Kenny, yes. We'll talk about him in a minute, but I still want to talk about the rest of the cast too, because Roman is incredible. Roman Banks, who was Dear Evan Hansen, really spectacular performer. And Mia, who comes to us from New York as well, who was the understudy for Maria in the recent
West Side Story that also
revival.
Shut down.
Right. Yeah, that was
another casualty of this time.
Is not coming back. And then, yes, you mentioned Kenny Ingram, who's my good buddy from many, many years ago, helped us stage the show. And he and I have a long, long history. We've known each other since 1985. We first performed together in a production, the very first regional production of A Chorus Line. It was still running on Broadway. And he was Richie, and I played Don out at the Marriott Lincolnshire in Chicago, where we worked together a bunch of times, did a bunch of shows there. And actually, that connection and relationship is what brought me here to Paper Mill, because he and I had put together a production of Dream Girls out at the Marriott Lincolnshire, which was highly lauded. And Angelo Del Rossi, the former executive producer here, went to see that and brought Kenny and I here to Paper Mill to produce,
and that's when we met for the first time, because I had just started at Paper Mill that season back in 1995.
It was 95, right?
Yeah, and Dreamgirls was it was a beautiful, beautiful production.
It was the first major revival of the show since it had run in New York and on national tours, and it launched my career as a director here in the New York area, and brought Kenny to New York, and so yeah, it was great to be.
And you and Kenny have something else in common. I found out last night.
Oh, what's that?
Well, you actually performed at Paper Mill.
Yes, I did. I was the third cowboy from the left in a production of Oklahoma. I don't even remember the year.
It was in the
89,
late 80s.
80, yeah, it was like 88 or 89.
And Kenny was in
My One and
Only ensemble, right around the same time that George Dvorsky was the leading man, and
Donna Kane.
Donna Kane was George and Donna. And
so it was great.
I didn't know that about Kenny. I didn't know that he had been here.
Yeah, he said that last night when we were on stage, and it was a surprise to me too. I'd never known that about him. I only thought he had been here when we did Dreamgirls.
Right.
But yeah, but he's doing really well in New York. He choreographed Emoji Land, which ran off Broadway for a long time. He just did a production of Jersey Boys up in the Boston area,
Right.
and now is working on a new play with Gabe Barry. That's
And
doing some work
wasn't
off Broadway.
he in the Lion King company
Oh.
for a number of years?
Oh, like 8 or 10 years. He
Wow.
did the national tour and then eventually came to Broadway and I think he was in the Broadway company for about 8 years.
He's such a not only talented, he's just such a
Bundle of
great
energy.
energy to
Yes.
have
We love Ken.
in the room. The performers love him because he's one of those people that even though he's seen the song 10 times, he will still laugh and clap and react.
It's
And
the best
he's
audience
a great
you can have.
audience. Yeah, he's really terrific.
So yeah, it was great. I mean, we've had a wonderful team putting this show together, and it's a great way to welcome back audiences. It's wonderful music, great celebration of life, and as we are all sort of facing, coming back to life and reintroducing ourselves to events and places we haven't been in a long time. And there's some anxiety.
Yeah, there is anxiety, but there's also the familiarity of being back in this space, and we just can't wait to have people in the seats. It's going to be very exciting.
It is time to celebrate. It is time to welcome you all back to Paper Mill, to bring music back into this glorious theater, to have life and joy and collaboration of artists. And what we really are looking for is what Patrick said before, which is that moment when the audience sits down in the theater and the lights go out and then the music starts to play and the cast starts to sing, musicians start to play, and that audience reacts. That's what we haven't had in such a long time, is that relationship, that live relationship.
That's why we're here. It was and it was very evident to us when we were working on the virtual season and we were here. And these incredible performers, those of you who saw those productions, we had such A-level talent, and we were all, there's maybe a dozen of us out here that were trying to just be all of you, be an audience for them, to encourage them. And then the thing about it that was so kind of difficult and in a way disheartening was once we wrapped the filming, it was over. Well, the whole thing, it was over. There was no party, there was no applause, there was no,
the stage behind us was essentially turned into a film studio. We had cameras everywhere. We worked with Tyler Milliron and his studios, which were spectacular to capture and edit those productions. But we rehearsed them quickly. They were filmed on stage in the space of, I think, a day or two days
sometimes.
And then we all sort of wrapped it and went our separate ways. So,
it was.
We met some wonderful new talent, reunited with some of our old friends, and we're thinking about bringing some of those possible digital productions actually to our stage in a future season because they were that good.
Not enough people saw them, and we really.
And we want a live performance.
We do. And the not only the piece of theater deserves it, the performers certainly deserve it. They were so incredible with nobody reacting. They were just, from their hearts, really giving it all. But it's been a tough time. So, and we also have to thank you all for adhering to our COVID guidelines here at the theater, because we want to keep everybody safe. So that's going to be a little tricky, and hopefully it'll end sooner than later. That's our great hope.
Look, yes, we're all in it together.
We are.
We've gone through a lot in the last 18 months, and so, to ask people to wear a mask and to, be respectful of others so that we can all enjoy a great live performance together, I think is a little ask. But we're excited. We are grateful to you. We're grateful for your support over these last almost 2 years. You've all been so incredibly supportive with your donations, with your messages, with your letters, and we can't wait to see you all here in person.
Absolutely.
Great.
Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Come to Paper Mill and enjoy the show.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you all back. So.
Great.
We'll see you at the theater.
See you at the theater.
Thanks.